Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video we're going to be reviewing using the new Sizzix stamp and stencil tool. I got this from my little scrapbook store. I know for some of you, you may have seen it already on YouTube and everything, but I just wanted to play with it and give my opinion. So I've pulled out a few things. I have some stencils to the right and the left of me. We're going to put this all together. So this is the box that it came in. And you get the platform, the lid, a grid sheet, and the light blue piece that's over to the right. Those are what come in the box itself. Okay. This lid is nice because it does lift off. You just have to put it at a 90-degree angle and then it just pops right out. And when it's down, it's very secure. It won't go anywhere. So the only way to get it out is to have it up. And then this, depending on how big your stencil is, you can use the openings to kind of lay it, or you could use, they have two little pegs that you can put the piece on. And then what's really cool is they have those two pegs on the very front, right? So with the Sizzix stencils, you can use, they have the hole punches already in, so you can line it up and get a precise layering with all your layering stencils. And then I don't have it yet, but there is a piece that we can attach to old stencils or stencils made by other companies to be able to have the same function. So whenever I get that, I'll use this in a video, and then that way you guys can see it used all together. So this is just me putting the grid paper down, and then the top piece comes off, and it has a low tack to it. And you'll see later on in this video, I think I wind up getting ink on it, and I try to clean it and it smudges and looks horrible. The best thing about this is that these are replaceable. I don't have any refills, or I guess, I don't know if they would necessarily be refills, but I don't have any replacements right now. So the smudge is what it is. It's meant to be used. It's meant to be inked up. So whatever. So we're going to actually wind up stamping and stenciling, and then we'll use the additional piece you can also purchase for this to create circle with your stamps, like circle, like wreaths and stuff. You'll see that too. Okay, so I was going to use this little tag here, but then I realized it's a little too big and I don't want to waste that. So I had a piece of cardstock that was already cut to like an A2 size card. So I'm just going to fold it in half. Use my bone folder to kind of press it down. And then I'm just going to lay this card piece right on the grid. Because like I said, the tack is strong. It's not going to make your stuff move. So you don't need a magnet or anything like that, as long as you're not lifting it up a bunch of times. Once you put it down, it's staying. So I'm just inking up my stamp I put down with some Versaclear ink. And then just like with other stamp platforms, as long as you leave it in the exact spot, you could stamp and then re-ink and stamp again. You do have the ability to do that. That time when I stamped, it was really, it stamped perfectly, so I didn't have to stamp it again. That's why I moved it. So on here, I'm going to do the same thing. So once I get it in place, obviously I lifted out the lid so that way it's easier for me to ink up the stamp. You can do it while it's on the lid. It's just awkward while I'm trying to record for you guys. So that's why I just took it out. And I'm sorry I just realized I did have to step off for a second. But while we're sitting here, I do want to tell you two things. I do really like this particular tool. The thing that I'm going to try and figure out is where I can store it. Because with the additional pieces, that's going to be the key. Because I have a lot of my stamp positioners in drawers already. So I'm going to have to be able to put that in a drawer as well for storage. Okay, so Okay, so I'm going to grab the Nocturnal ink from Versaclear again, and we're going to ink up the, basically the not the title. I haven't done cards in so long, geez. The sentiment, which I got from the same stamp set. And once I ink it up, we're going to put it back in and then press down. And then I'm going to ink it again just to show you that even taking the lid out and putting it back in, it's okay. And then we're going to stamp again. And it lands in the right spot both times. So when I put the lid down there, that's when the ink gets on the grid sheet that's underneath. And that's where I decide that, oh, I made a smudge and it's brand new. I want to clean it. Well, I go to clean it and I make the smudge worse. So yeah, don't do that. Just let it be. So I think right now I'm trying to grab like a tissue or something, a paper towel, so I can try and clean it. And yeah, no baby wipe. Yeah, no. But I just go ahead and finish cleaning off the stamp, so at least that's clean. And then we'll do the same thing, cleaning this. And then I'm not going to worry about it. It's smudgy. It'll be all right. Okay, so now we're going to get to play with some of the stencils. Okay, I'm actually just going to use the one stencil set that's off to the right hand side. It's a lot of the bubbles, but only because it is a 3-layer stamp, and I wanted to show you how even without using the mechanism for what it is, because the holes don't match up, you're still able to get a nice lineup because of the grid sheet too. So that's what we're going to do. It's sticking enough. Okay. So now I got a piece of paper that I'm going to wind up taking the lid off, because when you're stenciling, you don't need the lid. The lid is just cumbersome in the way. So I just take it out and put it to the side, and then we're going to line up and put down our first stencil. Now with this stencil, I was holding it down. There's not enough on the edge of the paper to really allow it to stick to the sheet that's on the bottom, the grid sheet. So it does slip and move. So on the next ones, I'll wind up using some washi tape. You'll see that here. And so once we get that down, I'm just going to grab just 2 little pieces to put on each side. And that's going to help with it moving around. Now, normally, if the paper that you're using is smaller than the stencil, you won't have to worry about it, because that tackiness will hold the stencil in place. So you don't need magnets. You don't need the tape, really. It's just because the stencil itself is almost, well, not almost, it's basically the same size of the cardstock that I'm using. So the cardstock is still, but the stencil can move around if you don't tape it. All right, and then we're going to do the third one and do the same thing. You see I saved the tape. I'm going to put that down on both sides, and then we're going to use the same color. Now this particular stencil I like, because as you're adding color, I'm using one color, but as you keep adding the layers, there's elements of it that's getting darker, and so it creates your dimension, which is really nice. And then with this one, you can also, I've done like the last layer where I used embossing ink, and then heat embossed with gold, so that one of the layers had like a heat embossed gold layer. It was really nice. But you can see there. And it winds up being a very nice piece, you know. And that's using stencils that I got from Tailored Expression. But you can use this obviously with any stamps you have. So the next piece is sold separately, but this piece allows us to create basically like wreaths, right? Or a circle pattern of some sort. You could do a semicircle, you could do a half circle, you could do, you know, however you want to do. But we're just going to play for a little bit. I was going to put it there, but I realized it was up too high, so I'm going to move it down so that's right in the middle. And on the actual round space, there are lines, grooves for how big you want to make it. So since my paper isn't large enough to do the biggest circle, we're going to go not the smallest, but the next one up. And we're going to just create a little wreath. And we'll use the nocturnal ink. So when we do this one, I do hold it up, ink, and then stamp down, because I wanted this to go a little bit faster. Now when you go to move this, you can sort of see the clicking. You can click once, you can click twice, depending on how you want your layout to look would determine, you know, how many times you want to click. Okay. Now, I do find at this point I was trying to do the, another stamp to sort of like get them both at the same time. But I realized by doing that, I had to have done it that way from the beginning, because here when I stamp, there's a little bit of overlapping, and I could have prevented that had I done it the correct way from the beginning. But it's only one spot. And you're going to see here, I'm going to take the bigger stamp off and just do the one starting back at where we began. And then it'll wind up being perfect. So I'm going to have to basically do a little bit of overlay on that one because I messed it up. But it's okay. We're just going to keep going. And those little spots where it sort of like overlaps, you're not even going to even be able to really tell. In fact, if I didn't tell you, you probably would have been like, what are you talking about? But considering I didn't read a single instruction, I think we wound up doing okay. I just watched actually a video on the Sizzix channel, and that's how I learned how to do it, how to use it. So it really is very simple to use. And just keep going all the way around until your image is complete. And we're going to do one more with objects that aren't like flowers and stuff. It's going to be fun. So in the comments down below, if you guys have one or if you've used one, tell me what you guys think about it. In the platform universe, you know, we've had quite a few different ones. So there you go. So it's just that one little spot. But other than that, once I got the groove, it was good. So now I'm going to use this stamp set from Simple Stories. And it's all travel theme. But I think we can use some of the pieces to create a wreath with, or a circle pattern of some sort. So I'm going to use this craft paper. It's just scrap that I have next to me in my craft room, and we're going to pick out a few things that we want to use. So this is just purely fun, playing around, just seeing how everything's going to work. So now I'm just cleaning up the ink, and now I'm trying to figure out which spot are we going to do. And by looking at, you know, where the paper is on the page, I'm doing the stamp like sort of right in the middle of two of the lines. And then we're going to click twice. No. Is it twice? Yep, twice. I'm watching this. I'm like, I think it's twice. Because you'll see, when you're using it, it goes click, click. It sort of does like a little click feel. Click, click, click. Yeah. And you just keep going. And you just, once you're, you go all around, it's going to create a perfect circle. I was thinking about this because you know how you can make kaleidoscopes and stuff like that. I was like, this would be so much fun for even something like that. So now we have the base of our circle. And now I'm going to put down this triangle stamp. I liked how it looks. So we're going to use that for on the inside and create a little pattern. And press down. And what I like is you don't have to press real hard. You know how some of them, the platforms, they have that tool that helps you press down if you have issues with your hands or your wrist. And I don't think you necessarily need one for this. It's big enough that you can press, and it doesn't feel like I have to like press super hard to get a clean image, if that makes sense. All right. And now I was going to use that oval one, but I decided I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use the flower one again. And then in the opening between the triangles, we're going to put the flowers. And magically, it always lines up. I mean, I did no measuring. It was like a hope and a prayer, and it worked. Once I saw it fit and I put it in the spot, turn, boom, you have a layout. You have a little circle with this great design. So you could do a stamp in the center. I grabbed one of the little travel sayings and just put it right in the center. So I'm going to bring back the stamp platform. And actually, I didn't have to bring that. I thought I was bringing the lid back, but I just used the circle one. But instead of twisting or turning anything, I just pressed down, and it works as a stamp platform as well. And then there you go. I like how that turned out. It's so cool. It's very interesting and can be a lot of fun. I think the best part, or one of the favorite parts for me, is the whole stenciling system. And I like the fact that, see, this is a 12 by 12 paper, right? There's no lip on this. So you can do stamping on any place on your 12 by 12 layout. If you're a scrapbook layout maker, this is awesome because I love the Misty, but the 12 by 12 Misty tool is rather large and some people don't have enough space for that. So this would work perfectly. You have the room that you could stamp anywhere on your 12 by 12 layout without having any issues. You can move it freely, and then it has this great system for stenciling, which is going to be a lot of fun playing with and trying to use. So again, if you guys have any questions on how to use it, if you have any opinions yourself, if you've actually tried this particular stamping tool, put those comments down below as well. It's always fun to try new things, but I always like to hear what other people have to say too. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have a great day and a great week, and I will see you with our next video.